Welcome to Freaky Fauna Friday, where every Friday we take a little time and explore some of the freaks of nature from around the planet we cherish so deeply. So please, jump aboard and let's explore the wilds together. Welcome back to Freaky Fauna Friday. I am the great and peaceful Mystery.
And I'm Jay.
And today is another listener submission.
Oh, all right. Those are the best ones.
Yeah, this is a really good one. I knew these things existed. I didn't know anything about them. And I still don't know anything about them.
Oh, that sounds freaky.
No, they're very fascinating. Their genetics is a crazy thing too, which we'll talk about.
Freaky, fascinating fauna.
But thanks to BK for suggesting this.
BK?
Mm-hmm.
Like Burger King?
He just went by BK.
All right. Have it your way.
The Antarctic Springtail.
Okay.
You know what Springtail is?
I don't. I'm going to try to guess. I don't know. Springtail. Antarctic. Is it a fish?
No. I mean, that's a fair guess.
Oh, then I have no idea.
Springtails are six-legged arthropods. They're tiny. So we buy a lot of springtails for like when you set up bioactive in containers for reptiles and amphibians.
Okay.
You've seen them when I used to breed newts and salamanders. They're the little white specks that crawl along the dirt.
Probably.
You can barely see them. They're that small.
Oh, okay.
Like bed bug sized most of the time.
Ooh.
But they're good. They're decomposers in a bioactive like topiary.
Okay.
They are the base level animal.
They're at the bottom of the everything.
But that's why like when I had salamanders and newts, like you never seen their poop. Because those guys, they break it back down. And then their babies eat them. So like tiny, like when I was breeding least newts, which are one of the smallest species you can breed.
Yeah.
I mean, their babies are like a centimeter long. So they need tiny, tiny things to eat.
Oh, so they would eat the
Springtails.
Springtails. Gotcha.
So these guys are a whole different thing. And we don't know a lot about them, but they're very fascinating. So I'm going to read an article that does not, by John Bennett, Antarctic Springtail Secrets. It's a short little article. And then I got some freaky fauna facts for you. In the shadows of the massive West Antarctic ice sheet, tiny creatures harbor clues to the ancient environment and changes in the southern end of the world, and the potential future changes around the planet. Ian Hogg, an ecologist with polar knowledge of Canada, who lives in Cambridge Bay, Nunavut, works with a team of scientists from New Zealand. So Ian's from the other side of the planet.
Right.
They're going down to the southern part of the planet with a team from New Zealand and United States.
Okay.
To explore unexplored regions of Antarctica for information about present and past polar ecosystems. So it's the same thing with deserts. People, when you look at a desert on surface level, it feels very barren and dead.
Nothing there.
And that's just not how life works on this planet. You got to look a little deeper. So the Antarctic ice sheets are actually full of life themselves. We've talked a little bit on the other show about the fungus that grows there and stuff like that. So this would be the next level of animal up or thing up. When his colleagues focus on the microscopic inhabitants of the thin Antarctic soil, such as nematodes, which are roundworms, they're all over the whole planet. And eight-legged tardigrades, which are one of the smallest complex organisms ever. Hodgin studies a giant in this ecosystem. And we're talking about a giant, relatively speaking. The springtail.
Okay.
A dozen of these six-legged arthropods would fit comfortably on your fingernail.
Okay, so pretty small.
Yeah.
A lot bigger than tardigrades, but...
Yeah, they're a lot bigger than tardigrades, but yeah, pretty small. But in Lipitan, World of Antarctic Land Animals, says Hoggs, they are functionally equivalent to elephants.
Wow.
Just because everything else, there's tons and tons of life, but it's just really small life.
Yeah.
So these are the big guys on the top of this, like in the soil. 1 millimeter long springtails collected from soil samples in Antarctica. And you can look up these pictures. They're fascinating. So I know like these guys are like a blue-black, and I know the springtails I would buy are white.
Okay.
It's just different species. So I don't know if it's to absorb heat more.
Oh, that makes
sense. Being that darker color. Elsewhere in the world, the snow fleas can appear in late winter snow in Canada and are a variety of springtails. So them being in the ice and the snow isn't new.
Okay.
They're on the other side of the planet. There's a different species.
That are doing the same thing.
Yeah, they call them snow fleas.
Okay.
So literally, they look like insects coming out of the snow.
Like the ones that come out of the beach?
Yes,
Those
but
big bugs?
not related.
Okay.
Those are sand fleas,
Sand fleas.
and those will eat you.
Oh, will they?
Oh, you're talking about the mole crabs.
They're little tiny, you dig up in the sand.
Yeah,
on the
those
beach?
are mole crabs.
Okay.
They're harmless.
There's like 800 of them?
Yeah. No, I'm talking about the ones that jump on you from the sand.
Okay, I've never dealt with them yet.
Me and my brother did. It was horrible. These animals can drift from place to place, rivers and ocean currents, but in Antarctica, they stay put. They are in areas with no open shoreline and very little in the way of running water ever. So in many cases, springtail populations have been stuck right where they are for at least 5 million years.
Interesting.
So there's just these islands of springtails all through the Antarctic sheet, and there's no running water.
Right.
So that's how they spread.
Oh, okay.
So when it was less frozen, and there was water running, they were going all over.
So
now-
now they're
yeah,
pretty
now they're locked.
isolated.
So when we look at their genetics, he explains, we can see how long different springtail populations have been separate from each other. We can study the flow of basically ancient water on Antarctica. This proves science with information of long particular regions in Antarctica have been isolated, and how separate the springtails and the behavior of the ice sheets are. The team research supports geological evidence of West Antarctic ice sheet, which is now 2 kilometers thick in some spots, collapsed about 5 million years ago. This made it possible for some springtail populations to mix, and the gene pool expanded again. The ice sheet equivalently eventually returned, and within the last million years has collapsed and returned again.
Okay.
So we can see this in their genetic code how often the ice sheets are collapsing and reforming.
Gotcha. All right, neat.
Yeah, because it's the only time they mix is when there's running water. The ice sheets eventually return, and I already read that, sorry, mixing those springtail populations. Geologists suggest that the ice sheet, which has been losing mass in recent decades because some people claim a warming climate, is probably going to collapse again. And the terrestrial environment, where the springtails are king, grants ecologically a rare, uncluttered view of how an ecosystem operates. Compared to the Arctic, with a higher biodiversity and many verticals of animals large and small, Hodge says, the Antarctic system are simpler and with very few moving parts that allow us to understand how they work by learning about their history. We can see what they might respond to with these changes in the future. Basically, with how they've reacted, we can kind of see how they're going to react in the future and how these ecosystems are going to handle these changes.
Right.
So why the Arctic and the Antarctic are so different is their connection to things.
Okay.
The Arctic, which is the top, what does Arctic and Antarctic mean?
Arctic means bears,
Mm-hmm.
and Antarctica means no bears.
Yeah. So
I
that's your
remember
first.
that.
That's your first thing. The Arctic, I'm sorry, is attached to several other continents, whether it's through seasonal ice passages or actual land connection.
Okay.
So there's an ability for animals to transmit up there and plants to transmit up there.
Right. Makes sense.
There's nothing. I mean, Point Nemo is still thousands of miles from mainland and thousands of miles from Antarctica.
Right.
Which
You're
is-
talking about the point in the Pacific
Yeah.
Ocean, the southern Pacific Ocean.
So there's very, very little contact with
From-
other mainland sources in Antarctica.
Right.
So it's very hard. Even though some plants probably on the edge of like Argentina and Chile and stuff like that deal with cold, harsh climates could survive on the Antarctic ice sheet or in where it can find soil and stuff like that. They just can't get there.
That's the problem.
Yeah. So these guys are very like tough, rugged. We can see in their genetic pools that this has happened and this is a cyclical cycle where the whole ice sheet has disappeared
And come back. Now, does it say in there any time like relatively recently when that happened last?
It says a million years ago was,
Okay.
according to the genetic scientist,
Okay.
what it looks like in the genetics of the springtails.
Gotcha. Okay.
But it's happening again right now.
Okay.
And we've seen that with some of the giant ice flows breaking off and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But this would say, because that's what they're wanting to know, is how is this ecosystem,
Gonna handle.
how do they manage?
Yeah.
And the springtails are a good example of showing that they've rocked this 3 or 4 times already.
No big
2
deal.
in recent time.
Yeah.
Not that it's not a big deal. It's just that
For them,
they'll
not.
survive.
Yeah. For them, it's no big deal.
So let's talk about some of their fun facts. Antarctic springtails are among the smallest insects in the world. averaging 1 to 2 millimeters in length and weighing only a few micrograms, barely registrable.
That's nuts that they're the elephants of Antarctica.
Ecological role. They are the largest year-round inhabitants of Antarctica and are highly sensitive to environmental disturbances, making them an ideal biocalculator or basically telling them what's wrong with the climate, like what we use amphibians for.
Yeah, kind of like how you do fish surveys.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, amphibian surveys are better, but when we were doing fish surveys, the amphibians were already gone.
Not good.
Genetic diversity. Springtails have a high level of cryptic genetic biodiversity. And they are the highest genetically diverse thing in Antarctic arthropods, the whole thing. With genetic diversity levels that are equivalent that we can only really see through molecular techniques.
Okay.
So they store a lot of weird genetic information.
Is it just because they're so old?
That's one, or it's a survival technique for when populations decline to prevent inbreeding. Or there's other factors. These are just things that we don't really know yet.
We just know it's there.
We know that they have, same thing with octopus, have a lot of cryptic genetics.
Yeah.
That we can, it's hard to explain. It's like if you're looking at a computer, you can see the file, but you can't open it.
They're in the computer.
Yeah. Well, these guys could be.
Probably are.
But you could see the file, but you can't open it or you can't understand what it says.
Because it's zipped or something.
But it's there.
It's there.
It's a huge mass of data.
I just want to open it and I won't let me. Unzip it.
They are also pollution indicators. This is another thing. There's whole areas in the Antarctic ice sheet where they've completely disappeared from due to microplastics.
So these are the canary in the coal mine.
Yeah. Like I've already said, in the Antarctic ice sheet, there's whole swaths they've disappeared from due to microplastics.
Wonderful.
And it affects the small organisms first because their systems are so small.
Right, yeah.
That microplastic to them is
a macro.
Yeah, huge. And it blacks their guts or whatever. In their aggregation behaviors. So here's one of the weird things I found and there's still a lot of research going on these. These guys aren't a newly discovered thing.
Okay.
But a very, very understood thing.
Understudied.
Understudied. There you go. They have a weird aggregation behavior. Antarctic springtails tend to aggregate by what we think by signaling to other individuals via pheromones, especially in times of extreme low temperatures.
Isn't that always at Antarctica?
No, I mean, relatively speaking.
Okay, fair.
It's only 10 degrees today, but tomorrow's going to be negative 40. So but they'll pile up. And we think they're doing it from pheromones. But I've read some other scientists think it's vibrational stuff like bees, where they're not like colonial organisms like a beehive or even like a cyanophore where they're, but this is another survival technique. When it's going to be really cold, we pile in with each other to survive.
That makes sense.
It's just interesting of that level of coordination and cognitive ability.
On that small of a scale. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's just this whole thing and I think this show and the other show is starting to really kind of prove a lot of that just because it's an arthropod doesn't mean it can't think in some level. I mean, we talked about the episode.
Yeah.
Crabs feel joy and pain.
Yeah.
Excitement and fear.
Poor crabs.
I mean, I still eat animals. I'm just saying understanding and respecting nature.
Yeah, that's a big thing.
I'm never going to throw a crab in a boiling pot of water. I would humanely euthanize an animal before eating it.
What are you supposed to do with crabs before?
Most humane restaurants know there's a spot right behind their eye.
Oh, they just
crunch it. You just poke a knife through and they die. They're dead. It severs their brainstem. They're dead. But yeah, so and there's still a lot about Antarctic springtails that we do not understand. And they're just fascinating. They're ecosystem engineers. And when we talked about all kinds of cryptic species in Antarctica. These guys could be the building blocks of a whole ecosystem that we do not understand.
Wait till it thaws out, and then we'll understand.
Then the Godzilla comes out or the bloop or whatever. But what do you think about Antarctic springtails?
Oh, they're pretty neat. I didn't even know they existed until today.
I knew, like I said, before BK reached out, I knew they existed, but I didn't know anything about them.
Right, yeah.
Because I know there are springtails, because if you go up to like the UP, you see them and people get freaked out because they look like people think they're shrimp. But they look like you'll be digging in the snow.
Yeah.
And you'll see them going through.
That's wild.
people, kind of freak out. Like, why is there bugs going through the snow?
Snow, yeah. I mean, and I wouldn't have ever imagined that either. I mean, I grew up here in the snow and digging around it, making tunnels and stuff. Never seen any little bugs.
Because we're in a good interchange zone. Where,
like that killdeer migration line?
Yeah, there you go. Where they stay or they leave.
Yeah.
Because with this, for the snow ones, they're more geared towards that kind of lifestyle.
Right, so they want that constantly.
So a hot summer would be just as deadly as a hot species going into a hard Ohio winter.
Right, yeah. And we have some hot, dry summers.
I mean, it's the worst drought since 84.
This year?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Everybody called me crazy this spring.
Man.
I told everybody we were going to have a severe drought year. You remember? I have recordings of it.
I remember it. I just can't believe that this year was that bad since 84. I mean, I knew it was bad.
Maumee, people are walking across the Maumee River.
That's nuts.
There's no water in it.
It's just, you don't really realize how bad it is. I mean, unless you're doing that.
I told everybody the fish are moving. It's going to be a bad drought year. The animals know. My great-grandma taught me the animals know.
They do, like the little beetles, the weather bugs.
Mm-hmm. Granny.
They know.
No, so thank you, BK, for reaching out. And I'm still looking into these guys. There is very little. If you want to understand how little there is known about these guys, just go to the Wikipedia page. It is a paragraph.
Really?
And it just names their species, like the species inside. Like, there's nothing.
What are they hiding from
There's
us?
a couple people really working on this, like Ian Hoggs. As far as I could find, all the research I looked up had his name attached to it.
Okay.
So I just found the article where they interviewed him.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So it's just like, he's the guy. But Antarctica is, there is one base there that holds like 6,000 people. And it's almost always scientists. It's right. And I think it's that, I read it earlier, the Nava, or however you say it. Talk for a second.
Well, hopefully we can get some people to, let's get a campaign, send us down there.
I would love to go to this lab area.
Yeah.
But it's like if you go to the Antarctic summer, there are a lot of dangers because there can be moving rivers underneath the ice.
Oh yeah,
and you'll walk across snow and just fall into a million feet down,
just gone.
Because the ice sheet's 2 or 4 miles thick in some spots.
That's crazy. Imagine falling down one of those cracks or fissures.
You're gonna die, and it's gonna suck the whole time.
Better have your ice spikes.
Yeah, you're not climbing out of that. But I've seen people take ROVs from the bottom up.
Yeah.
And find those tunnels. And we've talked about them in our Ice Spider episode, where there's giant. It looks like a giant worm has dug through the Antarctic ice sheet, but it's most likely just the rivers.
Or big mother springtail.
Yeah, giant. They actually form colonies and eat their way through the ice.
Yeah. Turn to a graboid.
There you go. Funny you mentioned that.
What is that for foreshadowing for next week?
Earlier this week.
Oh. Well, that's why I mentioned it. It's fresh in my mind.
Yeah.
We just did it.
I have been the Great and Peaceful Mystery.
And I've been Jay.
We'll catch you next week, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Freaky Fauna Friday. If you want to help the podcast grow, remember to share and give it a 5-star review.